I need to wipe your face. You look so dirty. Stay there. Jim, don't move. All right, come here. Can you sit down? Can you sit? Sit. Sit. He hates having his eyes wiped. I know. Ugh, gross. Okay. We're back. The Headless YouTuber and her trusty pug Pudge. We have an exciting video for you today. Can you sit, buddy? Sit. Oh yeah.
Pudgy.
Whoa! Just gonna go potty with his dad. You're gonna have to excuse my voice. Last night I was recording a voiceover for like an hour and a half and it just really did a number. So my voice is going, but now that Pudge is away for the next few minutes, I will tell you what we're doing today. So I have about 15-ish plants to show you. Some that I brought home from California, some that I've gotten from friends, some that I've purchased, and just kind of a mix of everything. And at the end, I will be doing a little update on the plants that I showed you in, was it the last video? Was it the last video? No, it was the one before. So the ECUAGENERA pop-up event, I did a little show and tell at the end of some plants that I got, and I'll be doing an update on those plants because they do look different. Before I get started, today's video is actually sponsored and I am very, very grateful and excited to be working with them. So let's get into that and then I will meet you back here with the plants. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare, an online learning community with a massive selection of inspiring classes for creators. I've actually already taken a class on Skillshare and it was the American Sign Language Level 1 by Intelezi trainers. But before this class, I did know how to fingerspell. This course just taught me how to form basic sentences and have a more natural, relaxed hand while signing, which was something I really struggled with. A class I'm taking right now, though, is the Complete Final Cut Pro X course for beginners by Joe Paris, and I cannot tell you how badly I needed this course because when I started this channel 9 months ago, I knew I wanted to use a program that was a little more robust than iMovie, and Final Cut Pro was a top recommendation for YouTubers. But when I bought the program, I was just so overwhelmed with the learning curve and how much it can do, so I pretty much just self-taught the basics just to get my videos up. But now I'm actually taking the time to understand the program so that I can elevate the quality of my YouTube videos and basically just get more creative when putting these videos together for you guys. One class I did want to bring up was the Plant Photography Take Better Photos at Home for Instagram by Tabitha Park. Mostly because my most frequently asked question across the board is how do I edit my Instagram photos? And this video pretty much answers that in a course that is literally less than half an hour long. Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, so there are no ads and they're always launching premium classes so you can really feed your creativity. I think one of the best things about learning through Skillshare is that you can take classes on your own time, at your own pace, and find classes that are suited for you, whether you're just getting into a hobby or are a master at what you do. And something that I've learned from being in the plant community is that we all have something to learn from each other. And honestly, I think that's been one of the best things I've taken from being in this hobby so far. With all of that said, I am super excited to be able to offer a free 1-month trial of Skillshare to the first 1,000 subscribers who use the link in my description. Thank you again to Skillshare for making today's video possible, and let's get back into the plants. First few plants I'm going to show you I actually acquired through some friends, 3 different friends. The first one is this one. This is a variegated Heliconia. And if you guys have ever wanted one of those variegated banana trees but don't want to spend the money, this is a very, very affordable and sort of comparable option, to be honest. It was in way better condition maybe like a week ago, but I forgot to water it. It was in the very, very back of an EXO. It completely dried out and it just threw a fit. It hated it. It started to yellow and now it looks like this. The leaves were like curled for maybe a full week and I didn't think that it was gonna come back. It still hasn't fully uncurled, but it definitely looks better than it did before, and I do see some new roots in here, which is a great sign. Those bright white roots right here, and it's actually just in a mix of very dirty perlite pond, leca, and there's like bits of sphagnum moss in there. It was just one of those where I was like quickly potting up and I put them together. I mean, doesn't seem to mind it. I do have this one in my EXO under a lot of light, lots of humidity, and I'm just hoping that we can get some new growth on it. I actually see some predatory mites on here. At least I hope these are predatory mites because there's a lot of them, but they're not moving. Anyway, so yeah, this is, I got this one from my friend Erin, by the way. Hers are way more big and beautiful than mine. I was so scared of killing this one and I almost did it, but I'm not gonna give up. But yeah, if you've never seen one of these before, I certainly had not even heard of this plant before Erin brought one home, but I'm just not, I mean, I think that variegated banana trees are beautiful. I just, with the amount of care that they seem to require and the price of them, I just don't think it's for me. Also, I've heard there's like crazy restrictions against importing them. I don't really know what that's all about, but yeah, I'm totally happy with this one. It's got that same kind of variegation, similar leaf shape, but just sort of like on a miniature scale. Although these, I've seen some photos of these and they can get pretty big, so I guess we'll see how long it lasts in my care. The next one is a plant that I got from my friend Nessa, and it was a cutting from her larger plant. I can't remember if I've shown this on this channel before, but this is a NOID Anthurium, just one of those random Anthurium hybrids. I really loved this one because hers actually didn't have a sinus. It looked like a Forgetii hybrid, and I loved it. But of course, both of mine have sinuses, which is totally fine because, I don't know, this one, it very much resembles, you guys are gonna laugh, but it does remind me of an Ace of Spades a little bit. It's got a very, very dark leaf in person, and it's got a very slightly pink sort of sinus up here. I know that it's not even probably remotely close to an Ace of Spades, but it is a beautiful plant. It's got these beautiful red petioles, and I have no complaints with this one. I really love it. I'm excited to see what it looks like as it matures. And this one is in, why is everything I'm showing you today in like the filthiest substrates? This one is in a mix of very old moss and perlite and probably a little bit of pond, but again, does not seem to mind it. I think I've sort of adopted some of Nick's swampy techniques. We always sort of make fun of his exos, how they're like really swampy, and like there was one time we were cleaning it out and it just had the most foul smell. It was awful, but all of his plants love it in there, just love it. Like they all take off like crazy. They get super big. So now I'm like, okay, I could make a swamp. So yeah, this one's in very swampy conditions. Maybe I'll include this one in my December favorites once this leaf hardens off, if I can get it to focus. But yeah, this one's been fun. Thank you, Nessa. The next one, oh, I'm so happy about this one. This one was a birthday gift from my friend Jing. I was just talking about this one when I was doing a show and tell of Nick's plants and saying that I would love if I could own one. I just didn't know if I wanted to spend the money on it. But Jing showed up to my birthday lunch with this little pot with nothing in it. There was just a little bulb in there. And I was like, oh, thanks. She's like, I swear it's something good. And sure enough, this beautiful thing popped out of it, and I'm very, very happy. I was a little bit concerned that this was gonna revert, and because there's only a little bit of variegation on it, but her mother plant actually does this where it'll put out this highly, highly variegated leaf and then do one with like mostly green or all green, and then it'll pop out something like this again. So honestly, I don't mind the fluctuation. I kind of actually prefer it just because I don't want to end up with a Alocasia FRYDEK that is completely white. But I am just in awe of this plant. It is absolutely stunning and I'm so grateful to have it. So thank you, Jing. This has been one of my best birthday gifts ever. Besides the fact that my friends literally bought me these fancy studio lights, like way too expensive, and just, yeah, I'm just so grateful for them. Keep in mind that Pudge is going to bust through that door anytime now, and he is going to be very breathy and panty, so I actually might need to take a break for maybe like 30 minutes after he gets home, because he gets so amped up after his walks. He gets the zoomies, he's sprinting all over the place, and it's just wild. So all you're gonna hear is pug breath. But I will try and get through maybe 3 of them. This one is a DIOON EDULE. And I also got this one from Erin. She gave it to me as a seed, so she just gave me this little thing that looks like a, what does that look like? Like a walnut? Pecan? I actually don't even know what nuts look like. I don't eat very many nuts. I don't know why I'm talking about nuts. But anyway, so yeah, we just have this sitting on top of the substrate. I can feel a root coming through. It didn't do anything for a while, and then I popped it into my tent and it pushed out this guy. Yeah, the leaves are all wonky because it grew up against another plant. And this actually looks very, very delicate, like it would snap, but it's super rigid. It's more rigid than, I would say, tortum leaves. They're very hard. They kind of feel like a thinner cardboard plant. I forgot which video I would have showed my cardboard plant, but it has the same feeling to it. It feels almost identical, but yeah, it's very hard to bend these leaves, super rigid. Even this little stem is very hard. You can't really bend it. But I'm gonna throw up a photo of someone else's DIOON EDULE. I believe it's from Alina. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, and I think it's a DIOON EDULE, but I would love if I could have one of those one day. So I'll throw it up right here. It's big, it's beautiful. It's just like sitting in her living room. I never really see any humidifiers going in the other side of her space. I do see one in her living room where she's got like that big plant wall, but I don't see her using humidifiers anywhere else, so that's kind of promising. I just have this one in my EXO right now, and I'm hoping that I can just acclimate this one down to lower humidity, because I'd love to put it somewhere in the living room as like a statement piece on its own. I think I'm gonna get it into a nice pot, but we'll see when I get that done. Next plant is, what is this? So this is a Philodendron melanoneuron. This one's really thirsty, but it's super cute. It very much resembles a Philodendron ernestii, if I'm remembering correctly, but I just love the way these leaves look. And Pudge is back. It's got like a funny petiole. It's like sort of flat, or I know that there's a word for this, it's just escaping my brain. The abaxials have sort of this reddish venation color, and where the petiole meets the leaf blade, it's like red. So there's a lot of fun like characteristics about this plant, but what got me the most was just the way this leaf texture looks. I love veins that look like this. That's why I picked up that plant from the ECUAGENERA show, because it had sort of the same kind of venation running through it. But yeah, I find this one to be really beautiful. I got this one from I got this one from my friend Jing too. And it does have a new leaf coming, although it's not looking very promising. As soon as I stop filming, I'm probably gonna help this little guy out. So yeah, Philodendron melanoneuron. Oh gosh. He's gonna come blazing this way, just watch. Hello. Hello. Oh, straight to the belly rubs. You waste no time. Oh, itchy. Did I find the spot? You got a vet appointment tomorrow, buddy. You got a vet appointment tomorrow. I'm gonna take a break to let him calm down a little bit. And I guess give him some belly rubs. Bill, you're facing the wrong way. Jimmy, you're facing the wrong way. Is your name Jimmy? Or is your name Pudge? The camera's this way, dude. Moving on to the next plant, we have something that I'm very, very excited about, and I actually hinted at this in the last video. I did it. I got the RHIPSALIS PARADOXA minor from EDULE Farms, and when I told you guys they were big, I was not kidding. This is the RHIPSALIS PARADOXA of my dreams, and I'm not really sure yet if I want to combine it with my other RHIPSALIS. I kind of like the idea of having multiple RHIPSALIS growing around the house, but I also really like the idea of having one that's even more full and maybe like coming out more this way, so it's like this big, I don't know. I don't really know what the plan is, but something that I've been wanting to do for a while now is sort of convert my shelf over here back behind me into a trailing shelf, more so than like an aroid shelf where I have big pilly philodendrons. I know a lot of people will be very against that, but the reason is it's a lot of maintenance to have aroids on this shelf, and with my current workload and just going back to California and stuff, I'm not really sure how long I can keep it up. That's just me being practical with this hobby. I don't like the idea that come summertime I'm gonna have to be like on that shelf pretty much once or twice a week watering, and I don't know. I don't know yet, but I kind of like the idea of having a shelf that's just all trailing plants, all different RHIPSALIS, different pothos, different Hoyas. I don't know. All I know is that I did get this RHIPSALIS and I have zero regrets. They even delivered it to me, and I can't complain. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. Guys, there is nothing like, and this is gonna sound really weird, but there's nothing like stroking a RHIPSALIS. Like, just at the end of a hard day, you just walk up to it and you just, you know, it just, oh, it's so good. So anyway, again, I think you're gonna see this in the next video too. I don't know. This one is a must-have for me now in my house. Like, I cannot not have one of these. But yeah, anyway, I told you I might get it, and I got it, so I keep my word. The next one is a plant that I brought home from California. This one is a Philodendron ATABAPOENSE. I thought that this was a Billy Black. I mean, I don't know. I was like doing research on like if there really is a Billy Black or if there's any differences between just a regular ATABAPOENSE. All I know is that it was sold to my sister as a Billietier, and it's very clearly not a Billietier because it's got the really deep purple abaxials, almost black. And yeah, this one struggled a little bit at her house. Like, you can see there's virtually no growth point, and it's kind of growing a little weird. But you know what? It's stabilized a lot, because this leaf right here was like this when I brought it home. It was like facing a totally different direction, but now that it's been sitting on my shelf for a few weeks, it's all facing the same way. I haven't lost any leaves yet, although there is a little bit of yellowing on this, but I don't know. This one I'm treating as more of a rehab, and I have this one living on my shelf back there just because there's no way I could fit this into a tent or an EXO, but there is no filter on this. Like, this leaf is so dark. It looks very different from my Billietier, and honestly, I would grab it to show you guys the differences, but it's way up there, and I'm not feeling great today, so maybe I'll throw a photo up. Let's see. I'll put this leaf here, and then I'll throw a photo up here, and you guys can look at the difference between a Billy and an ATABAPOENSE. I thought this could be a hybrid because of like the super like rigid edges of the leaf blade, but I don't actually think that there is proof that a hybrid actually exists. So we're calling this an ATABAPOENSE. I am like 95% sure it's an ATABAPOENSE. But yeah, this one my sister got from one of her sellers in California who imports, and just dropped it off at her door one day and was like, here, take this. But it's kind of outgrown my sister's space, and she doesn't have as much time to care for plants anymore. So she told me that I could take this one, and she told me that in March of 2020. Was it March? Yeah, March 2020, like right when the pandemic hit. So it's been in her care for a while, and I've just been waiting to take it home. Luckily, it was not a victim to thrips like the rest of her collection was. So this one is actually pretty hardy. If you guys know me, you know that I love long leaves. I love the leaves with the little bunny ears, and this is just my type of plant. So yeah, really, really happy to have this one. I have 4 more plants to show you before we get into the plants that I've already shown you in the ECUAGENERA pop-up show video, where I'll just kind of show you some updates. But this is one that I also brought back from California. This one is my big HOYA linearis, and I am obsessed with this plant. My sister is the one who introduced me to this plant a couple years ago when she got hers, which was actually this plant. And then she imported a really, really big one from Europe, and so she gave me this one. The HOYA linearis was actually one of the first Hoyas that I ever owned, and I've just always been obsessed with it. I feel like there's not a lot of love for HOYA linearis just because it's kind of a plain Jane plant, but I love trailing plants, I love fuzzy plants, I love strappy plants, and this one kind of checks all those boxes off. And I would say that a HOYA linearis is fairly low maintenance. They've been pretty easy for me in the past when I knew nothing about Hoyas. This one is really big. I think this one was from Europe too. I could be wrong, but it's probably, I want to say, maybe 2 feet long, the longest sort of trailing guy here. And I have this one in my bedroom just on a shelf. It's getting some indirect light from a southeast facing window. It is pushing out some new growth here since I brought it home. And I have this one in soil. This one does have a drainage hole. But yeah, it took to the transition really well. It was in purely basically peat moss at my sister's house. So I did get it into a little bit more of a chunky mix and something with a little bit more nutrients. So it is rewarding me, and I'm really happy to see some growth on this because it was a pretty aggressive repot. It was super root bound in the pot, but it didn't seem to like throw a fit or go into shock or anything. I'm not really seeing any new growth along any of the other stems. Oh, besides this one. Look, this is brand new. So cute. Are you joking? Anyway, HOYA linearis. Really, really happy to have this one, and it's been a long time coming to bring this one home, but she's finally here. So the next 3 plants I'm going to show you guys are very, very special to me. They were sent to me by my friend Amanda while I was in the States. She paid way too much for shipping and was just so generous. She was even gonna give me more, which blows my mind considering the plants she sent me. I met Amanda through Instagram and we got to talking, and you just kind of click with people, like total strangers. You guys just kind of like get each other. I felt that way when I first talked to Alice, when we were still strangers. Like, you just kind of know when you guys are like on that same wavelength. So I really clicked with Amanda. She's so sweet. She has the most insane, beautiful collection. She is so good at what she does. She's so humble. She's so willing to share her knowledge, and honestly, I'm not gonna say I idolize her, but I idolize her, and I really look up to her, and I hope to keep picking her brain over the next few years about how she grows aroids and to learn from her. So thank you, Amanda, for these next 3 plants. They blew my mind. So the first one I'm gonna show you is an Anthurium clarinervium that she grew from seed. And this one is special to me because she took note of the fact that I was saying that like I can't grow clarinerviums. All of them have died on me, and so she sent me a seedling because these ones should, in theory, be a little bit better acclimated to my care, my environment, my conditions, and hopefully I can finally have a full plant. It is pushing out another leaf. It's having a hard time focusing. I'm not sure why. I think because it's dark right now, but how cute is this? Like, after growing seedlings myself, I just realized how special it is to have something like this grown from someone else, because there is a lot of time and energy that goes into the whole process of getting this plant to grow. So I'm so grateful to have this one, and yeah, I love it so much, even though it won't focus. I think it's not focusing because it's really dark. It's a really, really dark clarinervium, and the venation hasn't quite come through yet. Why won't you focus? Okay, we're done with this plant. The next one that she sent me was this guy, and this is an Anthurium crystal mag crossed with an Anthurium luxurians, and I've been seeing some of the plants of this that she's been posting on her story of more mature specimens, and I'm just so gagged. Like, it's beautiful. You guys saw that I was really showing you guys those luxurians at the ECUAGENERA pop-up because I really want a luxurians but just can't afford one. So I'm actually really, really happy to have this hybrid because it very much has that texture, but it's soft, it's matte, it's not shiny, and I don't know, it got like the best traits of both parents, and I just... Pudge, he's sniffing his ding dong. Yeah, this one I am just thrilled to have. I cannot wait to see how this grows in my care. I'm legit spilling everywhere, but yeah, we're getting some size on this. I haven't had a new leaf on this one since I got it. It looked like this when I got it, but the oldest leaf is this one. So it started this teeny to go to this size. So I'm fairly confident that I'll have like a good size specimen in no time. And her mix is just delicious. It looks like it's a mix of tree fern fiber, very fine horticultural charcoal. I'm seeing some perlite, some orchid bark. What else am I seeing in here? This is just the most delicious mix I have ever seen in my whole life. I need to learn her ways. The color of this is unreal. I love it so much, and it's got like the most gorgeous sheen. But we're gonna go on to the last one from her that blew my freaking mind, because this one was a top wish list plant for a long time, and that is an Anthurium Ace of Spades. Who just sends someone one of these? Who? We're just gonna take a moment of silence. We're gonna look at this plant and say nothing. I'm gonna turn off the music. It is probably the most stunning Anthurium I have ever seen with my own actual eyeballs. The color of this plant is unreal. It's got this sort of like iridescence to it where it's green, but it also has this very, very bright undertone of like this aqua blue, like this deep aqua blue. I can't explain it, but it's magical, and I really wish my camera would not be so blurry right now. It's a really tiny plant, so it only has a little bit of that red sinus up at the top. This is the newest leaf to come in my care, and she's so cute. I just can't. I simply can't. I look at this plant like twice a day, and I'm like, what are you doing in my house? I am not worthy of you. Honestly, a lot of the plants that I've acquired from friends, I just don't feel like I'm worthy, honestly. And I really hope that if people have not been watching me for a while or haven't seen the entirety of my videos or don't follow me on Instagram, I really hope that they don't think that I'm just like going out and splurging and buying all these plants and I've got it like that. No, you guys, like sorry, that was my husband. I am self-employed, so I basically work sale to sale. I don't have a ton of money to spend on plants, but I just have the greatest friends. So if I have any advice to you guys, it's find your circle, treat them well, share your plants because they will also share it with you, and just take care of each other, because one day you'll end up with your top wishlist plant in your house, and yeah, that's my memoir. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I need to wrap up this video soon. My throat really hurts, but let's look at them all together. Imagine unboxing this. I was blown away. I couldn't even believe it. I still can't believe it, honestly. Yeah, it's just really special to have some of her plants that she's grown from seed or grown from a cutting. And because I admire her so much, I'm very honored to have these plants in my house, and I will definitely be taking good care of them. Also, this one is in a mixture of moss and perlite, and I think that it came like this because I don't have these pots, and yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the original substrate that she sent it to me in. Same with the Same with the CLARINERVIUM. It has the same kind of like tree fern fiber, barky, perlite-y deliciousness. Okay, now I'm gonna move on to the last handful of plants that I showed you guys in the ECUAGENERA pop-up video. For the most part, like I would say half of them are the same, and then the other half do not look the same, but I'm gonna eat first because I'm hungry and I have to go pee, so be right back. All right, so I'm gonna wrap up this video with the last 5 plants. The first one is a Philodendron HETEROCRASPEDON. Not much, he's like sniffing around. Hi, did you find anything good over there? Not much changes to the leaf, to be honest. I did get it out of moss and put it into a mixture of perlite down at the bottom with a little bit of moss on the top just to stabilize the plant, since it has some weight to it. I'm not seeing any new roots as of now, which I'm not super surprised about. I think Alice kind of had a difficult time rooting this plant, so I'm not really expecting much right now, but as long as I can keep the stem happy, then I am happy, and hopefully it likes being in this mixture. But yeah, not much update since the last time I showed it. Seems to be doing all right. The next one is that Begonia Gray Ghost. Is that Gray Ghost? Gray Ghost. I'm just making up names here. Gray Feather. Again, not much going on besides the fact that it is pushing out some new leaves. You can see over here and over there. And I feel like this thing is going to quadruple in size in no time. I have heard from the guy who propagated these, or that grew them himself. He did say that these were fairly low maintenance, so I believe him. Not a single change to them. Didn't seem to mind being moved to my house. I do have this in my Millsbow cabinet in my plant room, so the humidity and the temperature is quite high in there. I'm hoping that it's not too warm. It is really warm in there, so I think I'm going to give this one the chop soon. I'm gonna do a plant chores video in the next week or so, so I will show you guys how I propagate this. And I am planning to send a little cutting to my friend Fern. I'm putting together a little care package for her before I leave for California, so I'll see if I can sneak a little cutting of this into her box. And then we have the string of sticks. What is this? Bundle string. Guys, I'm just making up names today. This is the bundle of sticks. Again, not much has really gone on. I do see a little bit of new growth down at the bottom, although it's hard to tell because again, this plant just looks kind of dead. But I did move it into a no drainage hole pot. I put a little bit of leca down at the bottom and then filled it with a pretty dense soil. I didn't give it my typical aeroid mix. I gave it more, it's more on the soil side rather than on the amendment side. Got a good amount of worm castings in here, and I'm actually seeing some roots right here. Don't mind the sticker on the back. I'm too lazy to take it off. Let's see if I can cover the light. Right there. This little line here are brand new roots. So yeah, can't complain. This one is living on my shelf. Doesn't require high humidity or anything. It's a very low maintenance plant so far. I did mention in the other video that I was thinking of grabbing a second pot to fill this one since it's a little bit sparse, and now that I see how sort of easy it is or how well it took to the transition, I do think I'm gonna grab another pot of it and add it to this pot so it's a little bit more full. But Yeah, this one is a really, really fun one. I'm obsessed with this plant. The last three are gonna be kind of shocking. I'm gonna throw up a video of what my green dragon or Beginda, what is it? Beginda dragon scale. I have approximately 2 brain cells today. It is Monday and it feels like a Monday. I'm having some old coffee and I really need like a shot of espresso or something. So, okay, here's the video of my dragon scale when I picked it up the day of the ECUAGENERA event. And I'm so ashamed. This is her now. I think she hates everything. Me especially. Honestly, I didn't really fuss with the roots too much. I kind of just picked it up, shook it a little bit and plopped it into this pot and then filled it and then stuck it in my exo and it freaking hated it. Even this new leaf that's coming out looks like it's gonna be really like underdeveloped and sickly. Like I'm fully expecting this to just turn into a stump and we're gonna start over, which wouldn't be the worst thing because then it's like new growth completely in my conditions and in this substrate. So there is a gnat. Ew, what is this? It's like a breeding ground. Hopefully by spring we have a full plant again. I am not going to go to the store to buy a new one. It's not how I roll. We're gonna rehab this and if it doesn't come back, then it wasn't meant to be. But I will keep this rhizome or the stem or whatever it's called, and hopefully it comes back eventually. I feel like alocasias are pretty hardy that way, or like when you cut them back for the season, when they eventually die off, they come back bigger and badder than ever. So let's hope for a glow up for this poor guy. The next 2 plants are the 2 plants that I did get from ECUAGENERA. I still have Erin's plant because it was a crazy week last week and I didn't have a chance to go to her house. But I have both of these together in a pot with water, so I'm going to show you both at the same time. Ugh. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest. This is the new leaf on Erin's plant, which is this beautiful, beautiful brown color. It's got a nice sort of crispy, dead texture to it. Slightly slimy, but a little bit crunchy. Yeah, this one's dead. Before the trolls come at me and say it's because of the way I acclimate and clean off chunks and cut off roots, I will have you know, because of pure laziness, I have not done anything to them. I plop them in water like I do with all my other imports, stick them in high humidity, high warmth, and it still died. I do think that it suffered a little bit of the residual cold damage from the day of the event. It was very, very cold that day, and you know, once it kind of gets to that point, it's sort of hard to come back from it once the plant already goes into that kind of shock. But yeah, it's really, really sad. So let me see if I can take this out without spilling everywhere. So this is Erin's plant. You can see we have another dead leaf here. These 2 are going as well. Oh. I am just hoping and hoping and hoping that this one, this beautiful leaf that sucked me in the first place, holds on, because if we can keep this leaf and keep the stem healthy, then she'll still have something to work with. I just would hate for her to have spent that money and then end up with a stump. And then for my plant, this plant, I was actually saying in the video, I'm like, oh, it's so nice and perky and it's happy and it's healthy. Well, not anymore. It's floppy and it's sad and it's, I don't know what it is. I really don't. I do have this one in my Mars Hydro tent. It is like 90% humidity in there. It is very, very warm. So I really think it's just under the stress of being imported, which is totally normal. A lot of the times when you import plants, you're gonna end up with a stump, and that is just sort of, that's just, it comes with the territory. Yeah, we got a little bit of a floppy leaf. Might lose this one. I can see that it's starting to brown down at the tip. This one still looks fairly okay. It is actually really perky and firm, as is this one and this one, but the oldest leaf is going out. The root situation, not looking great. Yeah, this one is definitely in a very rehabby state. If this leaf goes, I will cry. I promise you I'm gonna cry. And I don't usually cry ever. So before I have this out of the tent for too long, I'm gonna pop this back in. I don't wanna shock it anymore, but I did wanna show you sort of the reality of importing sometimes. It's a hit or miss. Sometimes you end up with plants that like half and half, like half the leaves die off and then it comes back. Sometimes you lose all the leaves. Sometimes you lose no leaves, kind of like my gloriosum that I'm in love with so much. That one just imported like a dream, but there are some philodendrons, especially in the winter, they just do not ship well, they don't travel well, and these two clearly were some of them. So anyway, I'm gonna pop this back into the tent before it declines even faster. I'm back with the puginator. Oh, he's sleepy. But that is it for the plants. Thank you to my friends who gave me plants and traded plants with me and sent me plants. And I'm just like really thankful to have some of these in my collection now. A lot of them were like top wishlist plants, and it's kind of crazy that I sort of got them all around the same time. Everything else on my wish list seems a little bit unattainable, and that video will be coming soon. I'm gonna show you all of the plants that I have on my wish list, both the ones that I would love to acquire one day and some that I don't think I ever want to own, but have it on a wish list for whatever reason. That's it for the plants. We're gonna get out of here. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all the love, and we're gonna go. Do you wanna give them a high five? Yeah? Okay, high five. Bye.